When does collecting stop? Hello and welcome to another video. And this time I just want to do a bit of a stream of consciousness chat about an issue that I know that a lot of physical media collectors have, and I've certainly got to that point in terms of exactly when does a collection end. Now, as many of you will know who've watched my videos, I've recently undergone a huge international move. I'm still waiting for my bloody furniture and all my stuff to come. It's another bloody 6 weeks yet, which is fun. Really fun. It's really fun having to watch nothing except what's on broadcast TV or Netflix, because there's not that much. I mean, at least with Netflix, there's the Star Treks and Seinfeld and Friends. That's about it. But the point is, I've kind of been collecting DVDs, etc., Blu-rays, for about 24 years now. Now, before that, I collected VHS tapes, at least although that was primarily just Doctor Who on VHS. There was a time in the 90s when I had lots of VHS tapes that were not bought, that were stuff that I just taped off TV, stuff like the X-Files and Buffy and Seinfeld and the various sitcoms and all that sort of thing. Because that was slightly different, because in those days you couldn't really buy them on VHS. There were very few shows that even got full VHS releases, and when they did, it'd be something like the Star Treks, that would be 2 episodes of tape, and cost a bloody fortune. But the DVD, so primarily up until about the year 2000, I collected primarily in terms of viewable media via just Doctor Who on VHS. Really, the advent of DVD changed that considerably. I think I remember that the first DVD I ever bought was actually, I think it was Blackadder, the first season of Blackadder. I know it had been around a couple of years. My brother had got into it straight away, as he tended to do. I tend to wait a couple of years and see whether something's actually going to last before I start putting money into it. And I kind of thought, when I saw that Blackadder was on, and I think Doctor Who was just starting then with the 5 Doctors, I was like, okay, I'll start. And I've been collecting DVDs and Blu-rays ever since. I've still got that. I mean, I still got that Blackadder DVD. And in 2014, I kind of upgraded to Blu-ray. I still buy the occasional DVD. I still have some DVDs, because there's still some movies that don't even have a Blu-ray. There's still some of my favorite movies that don't even have a Blu-ray. Just an example, Debs from 2004. That doesn't have a bloody Blu-ray for some reason. And that's one of my favorite movies of the 2000s. So I'm definitely keeping that. I mean, even like Show Me Love, it took until about last year, I think, or maybe the year before that finally made it onto bloody Blu-ray. So I still have DVDs, but where possible and where not beyond the realm of the budget, I've upgraded most of them. Now, I see on YouTube, now I have to say I have about, between movies and TV shows, because I'm very much a TV guy, I mean, I had to kind of calculate this for the shipping. I have around 2,000 DVDs and Blu-rays. Again, that's not necessarily, that's approximate, but that's that's kind of what I have. And it's, how many bookcases did it take up? There's a couple of very small bookcases, but in terms of larger sized bookcases, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a bit. And I think all collectors kind of reach the point where they're like, at what point does this end? At what point does it stop being collecting and become hoarding? And at what point do you stop? Now, I have to say, I've never understood this I see some videos on YouTube and that just boggle me, where they just go out and buy everything. They want to do a collection, so they just go out and buy everything. I've never understood that. I buy stuff I like. I mean, obviously my collection VHSs was Doctor Who. When DVD came along, again Doctor Who, but also that was the time when we started getting DVD box sets of X-Files, Buffy, Seinfeld, etc., and that was the stuff I liked. That was the stuff I bought, and like the DVDs, I bought some of the old 80s classics, and I bought some of the late 90s movies that I was into at that time. And when I came into Blu-ray, I got even deeper into like older stuff, like the 80s and even like the 70s. I have to say, I don't really buy that much in the way of modern stuff these days. There's very little I do buy, certainly in terms of movies. I think I've got like half a dozen from this decade that I've bothered buying on DVD or Blu-ray. In terms of movies, there's like a couple of shows like Picard Season 3 and that Red Dwarf one that they had in 2020. That's kind of about it. There is a point where I've kind of drawn the line in that sense, in the sense that I'm not really that interested in a lot of modern stuff. I do like older stuff as I've gotten older, and certainly since the advent of Blu-ray, when we've been given access to a lot more of the old stuff in quality that's actually watchable. That's kind of what I've gotten into more. And I mean, today my buying, I mean, I very rarely buy TV these days, unless maybe it's something old that I've not experienced. Sometimes that's worked, like in the last 10 years. Sometimes you get something like Callan or Whatever Happened to the Likely Lads or Secret Army that I've really got into. I've had a couple of blind buys that, nah. And the same applies with movies. These days, I mean, I've got pretty much all of my favourites. Like I said, there's the odd exception that for some reason just hasn't come out, like Debs or whatever. But I've got pretty much all of my all-time favourite movies. At this point, certainly for the last couple of years, what I've been buying is primarily blind buying. But again, I'm not blind buying any shit that comes out. It's like 70s and 80s movies, and if they look good, and if they get good reviews, and if they've got actors in them that I like. I mean, the first Blu-ray I've bought in the UK arrived this morning, which is Last Embrace, which is a late 70s thriller with Roy Scheider, and it's directed by Jonathan Demme. It's like a spy thriller or something, and it's got a great supporting cast. It's like, okay, I'll get, and the trailer looked quite good, and I'm like, okay, I'm interested in this. But even then, it's like, where do you stop? Because on one level, it's kind of exciting. I mean, we all want something new. You need new things. There's something kind of depressing about the idea of stopping collecting, because it's like, why don't you just stop breathing? But at the same time, so finding new things from a period that you enjoy and appreciate, that's a good thing. But on another level, it's like, at what point do you actually stop? Because like I said, I've got roundabout in terms of something like 2,000 DVDs and Blu-rays. That's a lot, and that's a lot of bookcases to hold them. I practically need a bigger house than I would otherwise, just to kind of house these bloody things. I mean, I'm looking at my new house, and I've actually done something different with my setup. I've actually kind of decided to put my computer and that in the living room. I've actually got my computer fitted up to my TV so that I can go on the internet, do my work, sitting in my living room, whereas previously I had like an office space. And it's like, this is a 3-bedroomed house, and really 2 of those rooms are probably not going to be used for anything other than bookcases and furniture. And it's like, is this really necessary? Do I really need this? And again, there's the whole. I mean, I'm not really. I don't. I know some people are kind of going, oh, it's the streaming thing. I don't trust streaming. I don't mind streaming as a convenience. You know, I mean, like I said, I haven't got my collection at the moment, so basically all I'm watching is stuff on streaming. You know, I'm watching the old Star Treks and Seinfeld and Friends and that on Netflix, and that's fine to keep me going until my stuff comes, but that's not fine in the long term. I kind of need more than that, because the majority, 90% of the stuff on there, I don't give two shits about, to be blunt. So it's very difficult. I mean, I have pruned my collection. Like I said, I've got rid of, in recent years, I've kind of given to charity and stuff like that. I've gotten rid of like blind buy movies or shows that I bought that I just didn't like and just didn't get into. And it's like, oh, yeah, but I don't want that on my bloody shelf. I've got enough stuff that I do like. But at what point do you stop? I mean, on one hand, I should thank Hollywood, because they're making such crap these days, and they don't even make proper TV anymore. That's kind of helped me to stop, because I don't like the crap they do put out anyway, and there's nothing I want anyway. So that's helpful. But like, where do you stop? Because it seems like 70s and 80s stuff. There's so much stuff I've never even bloody heard of that's coming out with like great actors, and I love those times. I love those periods because I know these people. It's like I watched. I don't know whether I've mentioned this before. I watched Legal Eagles last year. I think I rented it on YouTube, and I loved it, and I bought the Blu-ray immediately. And it's like almost every single bloody actor in that movie I knew, down to the bit parts. You had like one-line bit parts that were played by people like Buffy's mom and Seinfeld's mom, and all these other great character actors that I might not even know the name of, but I've seen them in hundreds of things and I know who they are. And I just like watching stuff like that, as opposed to today, where I don't even know the bloody lead actors 9/10 of the time. I guess that's getting old, but there you go. But yeah, where do you stop? I mean, even quite apart from the cost, because the cost of buying these things is going up, because they're getting, especially like older stuff, it's getting more niche, or it's getting more expensive. But where do you stop in terms of like space? Because I mean, I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking, what am I, this house I've got now, it's okay for now. But what about another 10, 15, 20 years? Am I really going to want a 3-bedroomed house in another 10, 15 years, Because, I mean, they're a pain in the arse to bleed and clean, and and there's money, and there's finances, and all that sort of thing, and all the rest of it. At what point do you say enough is enough? At what point do you go, "No, I think I've got everything now"? Because it's like, it is a difficult question. Because it is a hobby. This is something that I enjoy. And like I said, it's not like I'm just buying anything and everything or anything like that. I buy stuff that looks like it's something I enjoy. A 70s thriller with a great cast. An 80s horror that looks fun and has got good reviews from other people who like 80s horror, etc., etc., etc. But at the same time, when you look at the number of stuff you've got, it's like, when does it stop? I mean, that's why I stopped buying, like, in the early 2000s, that's why I stopped buying books and magazines, because it was getting ridiculous. And I mean, most of those magazines I bought in the 90s, I've completely gotten rid of now. I have like a veritable handful left compared to what I was buying at the time, because it just got ridiculous. It just got to the point of, no, I mean, So but again, even there, that's slightly different because I got rid of them because I simply didn't read them anymore. So that's not the same really as having movies and TV shows that you are going to go back and revisit. I don't know. It's a difficult question, and I know again I don't see streaming as an answer because streaming does not have 90% of the stuff I have. Or you need, I mean, even in terms of like modern shows, you would need like half a dozen different streaming services in order to watch stuff like Dexter, Elementary, Pretty Little Liars, Fringe, or whatever. You'd need half a dozen just to get each of the few cherry-picked shows that I actually watch. And anything older than that, certainly anything pre-90s, you pretty much no fucking chance of finding them on any streaming service. So, I don't know. It's a difficult thing. Anyway, I just wanted to... I know there's no conclusion to this because I don't know what conclusion there is, but I just thought it was a topic worth discussing, and let's see what anybody else thinks about it, because... when you look when you look at the stuff and the amount of stuff you've got when you're doing a move like that, and you're like, this would cost a whole lot less if I didn't have any of this crap. Anyway, what do you think? Talk to you again soon.